It didn't begin with a name, but with a mask. A mask made of cold, unyielding iron forged to hide a face that no one was ever allowed to see. This is one of history's greatest, most enduring mysteries, a secret so dark it was buried in absolute silence. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're delving into the chilling story of the man in the iron mask. Picture this, it's the late 1600s. France is under the absolute rule of King Louis XIV, the glorious Sun King. His court at Versailles is a spectacle of gold, power, and vanity. But beneath all that glitter, a terrifying secret festers somewhere behind the thick, cold stone walls of France's most notorious prisons. A man is being held, a man whose very identity is forbidden. They simply called him the man in the iron mask. The first official record of this prisoner appears in 1669. He was a high-value captive, moved between France's most secure fortresses, Pegnerol exiles, the island of Sainte Marguerite, and finally, the infamous Bastille in Paris. What was his crime? Nobody knew. What was his name? Nobody dared to ask. All that was known was that he was forced to wear an iron mask at all times. The guards assigned to him were sworn to secrecy under penalty of death. If they spoke a word of what they saw, their lives were forfeit. Every meal he ate, every letter he might have written, every whispered word, it was all monitored by direct royal order. The governor of the Bastille himself, a man named Benin Desmars, treated this prisoner with a strange, almost fearful respect. The man wasn't tortured, he wasn't starved. He was simply hidden, erased from the world while still living in it. This suffocating silence only made the mystery deeper. Who could this man possibly be? The theories began to swirl almost immediately. Some claimed he was a high-ranking nobleman who had fallen from grace after betraying the king. Others whispered he was a general who knew too much about a disastrous military campaign. But the most sensational theory, the one that has haunted France for centuries, was that he was the secret twin brother of King Louis XIV himself. Just imagine that for a moment. The Queen of France gives birth to two identical sons. One is destined for the throne to become the most powerful monarch in Europe. The other is condemned to a life of anonymity, locked away behind a mask to prevent a succession crisis that could tear the entire kingdom apart. The mere existence of a royal twin could shatter the very foundation of the monarchy. This incredible story captured the imagination of writers like Voltaire and, most famously, Alexandre Dumas. Dumas took the legend and spun it into a masterpiece of fiction. A timeless tale of honor, betrayal, and hidden bloodlines. But even before Dumas put pen to paper, the rumors were already alive on the streets of Paris. People swore they had seen the prisoner's carriage, heavily guarded by soldiers, with the glint of an iron mask visible beneath a dark hood. Now, let's look at the facts we do have. Official records show that in November 1703, a mysterious prisoner died in the Bastille. The prison registry listed his name as Marquiali. But here's the strange part. That name appears nowhere else in French history. No family records, no lineage, no trace of existence. It's as if the name itself was a fabrication, a placeholder designed to erase a ghost. The events following his death are even more disturbing. The day after he died, the room he had occupied for years was meticulously scrubbed clean. The furniture was burned. All of his personal items were destroyed. Every scrap of paper, every piece of clothing, every utensil he had ever touched, all of it was reduced to ash. The king's men wanted absolutely nothing left behind that could possibly identify him. And when the mask was finally removed from his face after decades, nobody alive dared to write down what they saw. The secret went with him to an unmarked grave. For centuries, historians have debated his true identity. A leading theory suggests he was an Italian diplomat named Count Eccoli Antonio Mattioli. Mattioli had betrayed a secret treaty with Louis XIV and was kidnapped by French agents, then imprisoned in secret. The name Marchioli in the prison ledger could be a garbled version of Mattioli. This theory is logical, but does it explain the extreme measures taken to hide his face? Why would a foreign diplomat need an iron mask? Another fascinating detail is the mask itself. Some historians argue that the iron mask was a literary exaggeration. They believe it was more likely a black velvet mask, known as a laup, which was common at the time. A velvet mask would still hide the face, but it would be far less torturous to wear for decades. The purpose, however, remained the same: to ensure no one could see his face. The choice of material, whether iron or velvet, doesn't change the terrifying core of the story. This was a man the state wanted to make invisible, but the truth might be simpler, and in its own way, much darker. The man was erased not for what he did, but for who he was. Perhaps he was an illegitimate son of a royal family member, a living, breathing threat to the established line of succession. Perhaps he was a trusted official who had uncovered a secret so damning it could bring down the king himself. Or perhaps he was just an unfortunate soul who looked too much like someone important. Ultimately, the legend of the man in the iron mask endures not because we have the answers, but because we don't. We never will. He remains the perfect mystery, a haunting symbol of absolute power, state-sponsored secrecy, and the terrifying ease with which a person can be completely erased from history. His story is a chilling reminder that even the most powerful kings can be terrified of the truth. And maybe that's why we can't forget him. Because his story speaks to a universal fear, that of being silenced, of being forgotten. Behind every mask, real or metaphorical, there lies a story that someone, somewhere, desperately tried to bury. What do you think? Who was the man in the iron mask? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. We'll see you next time.